All right. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Tango Extend.
Okay.
Yeah. It's this eSIM solution that seems to be making some waves in the business communication space.
Right.
Especially for folks who are, always on the go.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole bunch of articles and reports here all about how Tango Extend is, making Microsoft Teams super mobile friendly.
Yeah.
Imagine just having one business number.
Right.
That works across all your devices.
Right.
You can finally say CNR, that clunky desk phone.
Yeah.
And basically just take your work line with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty slick, doesn't it?
It really doesn't. And I think what's particularly interesting about Tango Extend is how it really zeroes in on the hybrid and frontline workforce.
Okay.
So, we're talking about salespeople, folks who are constantly on the road.
Right.
Field technicians, anyone who really needs to stay connected and project that professional image without being, tethered to a desk.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of the workforce these days.
It is, absolutely.
So how does this Tango Extend thing actually work?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like having two phones in one?
It's not quite like having two phones in one, but that's a pretty good way to think about it.
Okay.
Essentially, what Tango Extend does is it kind of turns your personal phone into an extension of your office line.
Mm.
And the really cool part is that it leverages eSIM technology, which is basically, like a digital SIM card that's embedded in your phone.
Hold on, eSIM, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Sure.
What makes that different from a regular SIM card?
Well, imagine this. Never having to physically swap out SIM cards again.
Okay.
With eSIM, everything happens digitally. You just download your business line right to your device through the Teams App Store, and bam, you're good to go.
Wow.
In minutes. And it's actually a lot more secure because there's no physical card to, mess with or tamper with.
Right.
Which is a huge plus, if you're dealing with sensitive client data on your phone.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. I'm starting to see why this is getting so much buzz.
Yeah.
But what about the actual calling experience? Is it still tied to the Teams app or?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
With Tango Extend, you can actually make and receive calls directly through your phone's native dialer, just like you would with your personal number.
Okay.
No more app switching, no more fumbling between different interfaces. It's all just seamlessly integrated.
So you literally have one phone, one number for everything.
Exact.
Talk about simplifying life.
Right.
I bet companies are loving the cost savings on this too.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine no longer needing separate mobile plans for, your entire sales team who's out there on the road.
Right.
With Tango Extend, you could potentially manage all of their communication under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Which saves a significant chunk of change on those monthly bills. Plus, no more desk phones, which can really add up.
Oh, I can see those finance departments doing a happy dance right now.
For sure.
But speaking of being on the road, what about international travel?
Yeah.
Does Tango Extend work globally?
It does. And this is a major perk, especially for folks who, are frequent flyers for work.
Okay.
Tango Extend actually offers coverage in over 35 countries.
Wow.
So you can use your business line without racking up those, dreaded roaming charges.
Right.
No more scrambling for local SIM cards or worrying about bill shock.
Okay, now that's a game changer.
It is.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
But this global accessibility, it really highlights a bigger trend that we're seeing, right?
Yeah, right.
This whole idea of fixed mobile convergence, or FMC as the cool kids call it.
You got it. Think of it as kind of breaking down the walls between your desk phone, your mobile, and all your communication apps. It's all about creating a seamless experience regardless of where you are. And it's becoming so crucial as more and more of us embrace, remote or flexible work styles.
Yeah. And it makes sense that companies are jumping on board.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want that flexibility.
Absolutely.
But we still need to stay connected and productive, right?
Exactly. In fact, the NTT 2023 Global Customer Experience Report, and we won't dive too deep into it here, really emphasizes how much companies are prioritizing these flexible work styles.
Okay.
They're seeing the value in empowering their employees to work from anywhere.
So it sounds like Tango Extend is hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Both for individual users and for companies as a whole.
I think so.
But there's one thing that pops into my mind when we talk about using personal devices for work, security.
Right.
Isn't there a risk involved there?
That's a really great question, and it's a valid concern. And the Big Glass 2021 BYOD security report actually highlights some real worries about data security when you have work and personal information living on the same device.
Yeah.
So it definitely raises the question, how do we ensure data security when that line gets blurred?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
And I think that's something worth exploring further.
Okay.
But before we get too deep into that, let's take a step back and
maybe we can kind of shift gears a little bit here and talk about the bigger picture impact of Tango Extend. What really strikes me about it is its potential to really level the playing field when it comes to communication tools.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. Like traditionally, having a dedicated business line with all the bells and whistles,
Yeah.
That's been a perk that's mostly been reserved for people who are in that office setting. You know what I mean?
You mean like desk phones, conference lines, that sort of thing?
Exactly.
Well,
But with Tango Extend, those same professional features are basically extended to anyone who has a mobile device.
right.
It doesn't matter where they work, how they work.
So it's kind of like democratizing professional grade communication in a way.
Precisely. Yeah.
I like that.
And that shift, that has ripple effects.
Yeah.
It empowers remote workers, it empowers field teams, really anyone who's on the go to communicate with that same clarity and efficiency as their colleagues who are, sitting in an office.
I bet that has a huge impact on productivity and collaboration too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Break down those communication silos that you were talking about earlier.
Exactly. When you remove those communication barriers, you foster a more connected and a more engaged workforce.
I'm also curious about the implications for work-life balance.
Oh,
If you have one number for everything,
right?
Could that actually help people set better boundaries?
That's a fascinating question, and it really speaks to that broader conversation about how technology can be used to support, a healthier work-life integration.
Yeah.
It's not just about being connected all the time. It's about being connected in a way that works for you.
Right. Having more control over when and how you engage with work. Yeah. So it sounds like Tango Extend is more than just a nifty communication tool.
Right.
It could potentially be like a catalyst for some significant changes in the way we work.
I think that's a very insightful observation. I think this technology really reflects the evolving needs of today's workforce, and it offers a glimpse into a future where work is less about location and more about what you're able to accomplish.
That's a future I can get behind.
Yeah,
we've covered a lot of ground today.
I have.
We've explored Tango Extend inside and out.
Yeah,
from its features and benefits to its potential impact on the future of work.
It's certainly been a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear what stood out to you as the listener. What resonated the most with you?
Yeah.
Was it the single business number? Was it the ease of setup, the global coverage, or was it something else entirely?
I'm curious to hear your thoughts too.
Sure.
Because ultimately it all comes down to how these tools can make our work lives better, more efficient,
right,
and maybe even a little bit more enjoyable.
Exactly. And speaking of making things better, I think it's worth leaving our listener with a final thought to ponder.
Oh, I love those final thoughts. Lay it on us.
All right. Imagine a world where your business line seamlessly follows you wherever you are. No geographical limitations, no more communication silos.
That's a powerful image.
What possibilities does that open up for your work and for your life?
Whoa, that really gets the wheels turning. It's the ultimate freedom and flexibility,
right?
But also like a challenge to use that connectivity wisely. Right.
Precisely. Technology is a tool, and it's up to each of us to shape how it's used and what kind of future we build with it.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to end on. Remember, if you're interested in learning more about this ever-evolving world of business communication, be sure to stay tuned for our next deep dive. The future of work is in your hands.
It is.